السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ثم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم فأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى اللهم أدخلنا في الجنة. I want to talk about the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal in this 30-minute or less session that we have together. But before I do, I want to share with you some obstacles that you and I face in dealing with this subject in a healthy way. First and foremost, there are different kinds of people in the audience and obviously within the Muslim community also. There are people at different levels in their relationship with Allah. There are youth that are maybe here at this conference. My guess is most of them aren't here, that aren't even remotely religiously affiliated. That, as they were coming up, even if they were coming up in a Muslim household, the religion wasn't emphasized that much, and they don't see the need, not even for the Jumu'ah prayer, even on the Fridays that they're off of school. They don't see the need to go. And their parents, as these kids are becoming teenagers and growing a little older, they're starting to feel the need to bring religion into the lives of these children because they realize the impact it's having on their character now than they ever did before. So it's a state of emergency in certain families. That's one kind of person. But another kind of, or category of Muslims, especially younger Muslims, are Muslims that had some sort of an awakening. And you started turning towards the religion, and one of the things that brought you here to this conference is perhaps maybe a lot of you even came without your family. You came on your own, you came with a bunch of friends because you wanted to feel connected to a larger Muslim community. You wanted to be part of or meet with scholars and speakers and feel rejuvenated. It's a way of refreshing your iman, and I really appreciate that about conferences. At the end of I've been coming to conferences since I can remember, my entire adult life. And people complain sometimes, well, in conferences you only get a 20-minute speech or a 30-minute speech, and there's too many programs going on. You don't even learn anything because the topics are all over the place. And I've always believed that's not the point. It's the halal party of the year. That is what a conference is. So if you're coming here with friends and you attend, okay, you heard a little bit of good advice. You didn't come here to learn. Please don't be offended. Other people, shuyukh, have a lot of great wisdom and knowledge to offer. But really, guys, you're sitting here, half the time you're on your phone. So you're not here to learn. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're here to get a little bit of good advice, inshallah ta'ala. Get a good vibe and feel good about being Muslims that have come together for something good. And inshallah ta'ala, leave with a positive spirit to do something more with our lives after we leave. And that in and of itself is a worthy goal. It's a worthy goal. I don't think that the only goal for Muslims is to learn. I don't think that. I do think coming together and feeling inspired. I bring my kids every year because I want them to see all kinds of weird Muslims walking around. And they say, that one's Muslim too. And I say, yep, that one too. I want them to feel that. But as we grow in our religion, one of the things that starts happening is we start talking about the problem of the Muslims, the problem of the masjid, the problem of the world, the problem of politics, the problem of, da'wah in America, the problem of some brothers and sisters on my college campus who don't do this and don't do that. And brother, I was talking to this one Muslim who doesn't pray. How do I convince him, etc., etc. Problems, 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 and they're usually somebody else's problems, and you're trying to figure out the solution to everybody else's problems. In other words, the more religiously awakened you get, after a while, your concerns shift from predominantly being concerns about yourself to concerns about others. You just worry about others as though you have already been resolved. That territory has already been conquered. Now it's time to move on and help somebody else. May Allah help those Muslims, brother, those guys from the Pakistan Student Association. Why aren't they in the MSA, the ones that are already 1 foot into Jannah, Why aren't they there? Why aren't they at the neighbor net? Why aren't they at this program or that? Or why aren't they showing at the conferences? What can we do for them? Well, first and foremost, we have to do something for us. And that's what this conversation of fear is about. I'm trying to address all of these different kinds of audiences, and there are even more categories. But let me tell you something. The more you're out there in activism and doing things, there's a very natural tendency to forget about yourself. You start getting concerned with the organization that you're serving, with the program that you're putting together, with, whatever activity, and you start losing yourself in the process. At the same time, there's another problem. And this problem is across humanity, and Muslims are no exception. You know, there's a certain perception you have of me, whatever that's based on. But it's not the same perception that my wife or my children have of me, or what my parents have of me. It's not the same perception. They know a side of me you will never know. And I know a side of you that's just partial. We meet each other in public, we say salams to one another. Even if we speak to each other for a little bit, I don't really know you and you don't really know me. But you know what happens when we present ourselves in public and we're out there all the time meeting with people, interacting with society, and we're not by ourselves much? You know what happens? We forget that there is such a thing as also talking to yourself. There is such a thing as being reconnected with yourself. You know, we present a certain version of ourselves to the outside world. There's a certain kind of language you're not going to use at an interview. There's going to be a certain kind of tone you're going to take when you're talking to your employer or the imam of the masjid, or when you have a question with a scholar or something. There's going to be a side of you that you're going to present. And when you're among your friends, or you're at home by yourself, or you're among people that just completely know you, there's a different side of you that comes out. There's a different side of you. But you know what happens for some people? They put that face out for so long, they even forget who they really are. You become so used to presenting this version of yourself to the outside world, you don't even know what it means to look in the mirror anymore. You see someone who's not really there. We're not able to be honest with ourselves. I mean, really, how many of us have done the actual exercise of, I know it sounds a little psychotic, but it's healthy. I actually happen to think it's therapeutic. To talk to yourself and to be able to say to yourself, here are my shortcomings. Here is what is wrong with me. I tend to have an anger problem. I rush into things. I start things and I don't finish them. I don't give enough attention to one thing. I'm involved in too many things. I have short attention span. I am rude because when somebody's talking to me, I just start talking to somebody else. Or I can't seem to put my phone down. Or I have this addiction online that I can't get rid of. Or I have these friends, when they do the wrong thing, I don't say anything. I become a coward. I don't say anything. I don't even give them sincere advice. Or I have these late night hangouts and I keep missing Fajr. When is the last time we actually sat down and said, here is what I would like to change about my life? We're so worried about the world's problems, like we don't have any. And when you forget that you don't have problems, then the only fears you have is for others. You no longer have fears for yourself. What is a surprise then? Then when the dua is being made, when the Quran is being recited, you and I are having a hard time finding a tear to come out of the eye. Because the genuine fear is no longer